Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily News. I'm Nicholas Richardson. An attack on a United States airbase occurred in Iraq on Monday. Several soldiers and civilian employees were wounded. A Polish contingent is also stationed at the base, but according to the Polish Minister of Defence and the head of National Security Bureau, the Poles were not hurt. The Middle East is boiling and a full-scale war is now a very real possibility. Americans are the target of enemies. At least 2 Katyusha-type missiles have fallen on an airbase in Iraq. But according to Lebanese media, there were 3 explosions, 2 from rockets and 1 caused by a drone attack. Other sources say about a dozen rockets, though the Pentagon does not confirm this. Several soldiers and civilian workers are known to have been wounded, and the damage is being assessed.
We are at a critical moment for the region, and it is important that all parties take steps over the coming days to refrain from escalation and calm tensions. Escalation is in no one's interest.
A Polish contingent is also stationed at the base. According to the head of the National Security Office, the Poles are safe. No Polish civilian or military personnel were harmed as a result of the attack.
Fire the hole! Fire the hole! Fire the hole!
A strategic location for the Americans was attacked. Located in the Middle East, in the central part of Iraq, the airbase that gives the United States the ability to respond quickly in one of the world's most explosive regions. President Joe Biden and Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin have already had an urgent meeting. The Americans won't leave it this way. People in America may have this thinking that America is not in control of the situation in that part of the world, and that it's somehow out of control. And Americans are also aware that if anything happens, American troops will have to take part in this conflict, on the side of Israel, of course, and no one wants that because it's huge money and human losses.
Middle East.
No one has claimed responsibility for the attack, but the first suspicions fell on Shiite militias in Iraq. These are pro-Iranian militia groups that primarily attack Americans and Israeli citizens. The defense ministers of both countries in a telephone conversation acknowledged that the attack on the American base is leading to rising tensions in the Middle East. They're also heated by such words from the Iraqi Prime Minister. The atrocities that Israel is carrying out in the Gaza Strip against the people living there can only be compared to what ISIS terrorists have been doing. Israel, in retaliation for last October's Hamas attack, nearly leveled the Gaza Strip and carried out a deadly attack on the Hamas leader on the territory of its greatest enemy, Iran. Tehran has sworn bloody revenge and gathered allies, Lebanon's Hezbollah, Yemeni Houthis and other Islamic militants from the Middle East.
Jemeńskich Huti I innych islamskich bojowników z Bliskiego Wschodu.
When Israel feels our anger firsthand, it will realize how big a mistake it has made. They will see for themselves how strong our response will be. According to United States intelligence, an attack on Israel could come at any time. Marcin Shevchak, TV Republica. 4 countries are warning their citizens not to travel to the United Kingdom. After the son of Rwandan immigrants killed 3 little girls in the town of Southport, protests and riots started breaking out in town after town. Outraged native Britons are increasingly being confronted by Islamists. There are beatings and arson attacks. Immigrants feel a sense of impunity as the government, police and media only seem to accuse native Britons of violence. The situation in the United Kingdom is getting out of hand. On the one hand, Britons are protesting en masse against illegal immigration. On the other, Muslim gangs are attacking Britain's indigenous population. They're attacking groups targeting white people at random.
It's dangerous for everybody. I think it will only escalate, for definite, yeah.
Riots broke out after the brutal murder of 3 girls. They were killed by the 17-year-old son of immigrants from Rwanda. But the government and the media are pointing the finger at indigenous Britons as the source of the problem. Around 400 Britons have been arrested so far. Special police units have been set up, among other things, to combat so-called hate speech on the internet.
You're going to be arrested, okay?
Right.
Take you up to the police station.
Right.
Okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page. Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, it's a Facebook crime, is it?
Okay.
Right.
So we need to ask you some questions about that.
At the same time, the government is vying to side with and protect Islamicists. Police are guarding mosques. Instructions are appearing on how to avoid arrest. But the British are not giving up. Day after day, the protests spread to more cities. There are now protests in more than 20 towns and cities.
Wydaje się, że Brytyjczycy wreszcie zrozumieli.
It seems that the British have finally realised that they are no longer inhabitants of their own country. They are slowly becoming intruders and will therefore have to stand up to the migrants who feel they can go unpunished.
Migrantom, którzy czują się w sposób bezkarny.
Unpunished and increasingly brazen. They're openly saying that they are now the hosts of these streets and are violently taking control of them. This was witnessed by a Sky News reporter who was told by several masked Islamists to stop the broadcast, despite the fact that the liberal media, in their coverage, take the side of the immigrants. Elon Musk, owner of the X platform, which is the main source of information on the situation in the UK, warns
civil war is inevitable.
warnings against travelling to the United Kingdom have already been issued by Australia, Malaysia, Indonesia and Nigeria. This is a huge danger, and indeed this civil war, at least as far as street clashes in the UK are concerned, is very possible.
Brytanii jest bardzo możliwa.
Meanwhile, a vigil for the murdered girls was held in Southport on Monday night. It went peacefully and without incident. Police also said that one of the 8 children injured in last week's attack remains in hospital. Conrad Vange, TV Republica. Poland's average wholesale energy price per megawatt hour in the first 7 months of this year was €90, the third highest in Europe after Ireland and Italy. This is a big problem for business. High energy prices mean high business costs. As a result, there have been a number of reports this year of large companies and production plants deciding to leave Poland and moving their production to countries with cheaper energy. This situation affects not only the employees of the closed factories, but also the pockets of consumers, who are forced to pay more, not only for electricity, but also for water. Does the government have any idea how to combat overpricing?
Once again, we will have to tighten our belts because, in addition to high energy prices, we will also be affected by increases in water prices. How will the government react, and will it protect us Poles from these increases? Anyone who uses more than 3 cubic meters per person must expect higher bills, because the whole system has to be balanced. Those who do not use shared water resources economically will have to pay more. In order for Poles to learn to save money, the government is proposing that the first cubic meter of water will cost 1 zloty, the second and third at a lower price, but the fourth and each subsequent one you will have to pay more. Water charges should be structured to encourage water saving. An unnerving joy was publicly expressed by a German bank. These are the reform plans for the Ministry of Infrastructure. The unfreezing of water prices means increases of up to 40%. The plans of Donald Tusk's government fall short of most Poles' expectations. Poles are aware that the government is doing nothing, that it is incapable of solving the problems of livelihood, and this is a wake-up call for the Tusk government from the public. Poles feel the high costs in their own pockets, and since July we have been paying much more, especially for electricity. The cost of electricity, heat, and water is the result of various energy and climate policies implemented in Poland over the years. The quality of the environment is slowly improving, but we are all paying the price. Just as the Polish masses cannot move out, some foreign companies are closing their factories and moving to other, more cost-effective locations. Many companies that are important to the Polish economy have already left the country. No wonder, as electricity prices in Poland are currently among the highest in Europe. In July, wholesale electricity prices in Poland were as high as €90 per megawatt hour. Only Ireland and Italy are more expensive. The cost of generating electricity depends, among other things, on the price of fuel. Expensive fuel means high costs for everything. As Law and Justice, we have submitted a bill which, if passed, would reduce the price of fuel by almost a zloty per liter. Fuel would not cost 6.40 at the petrol station, but we would get closer to the magic limit of 5.19 zloty. Those in power should also be thinking about alternatives that would make it possible to reduce prices and taxes, especially since the European Union is not willing to agree to reduce or abolish the carbon emission tax, the ETS, which in turn does not make life any easier for entrepreneurs, and it could even get more expensive.
Każda megawattogodzina, która emituje CO2.
Every megawatt hour that emits CO2 is charged with such an additional fee, and it is not a small fee, because today it is 68 euros, and the system is structured in such a way that this cost can reach 200 euros.
100, 150, nawet 200 euro.
So far, there are no solutions that will make life easier for Poles and give entrepreneurs respite. Edyta Hołdyńska, TV Republika.
While surfers compete for Olympic medals in Tahiti, 15,000 kilometers from Paris, the annual dog surfing championship was held on a beach in California. This unique event includes not only a sports competition, but also a fundraiser for animal protection. And above all, it is an opportunity to have fun.
Dogs, some of the most loyal friends known to humans, had 12 minutes to catch their 5 best waves. Judges took into account the level of confidence, artistic qualities, and the ability to stay on the wave.
So we're at the World Dog Surf Championship 2024, and it's actually crazy. We're here in Pacifica, and there's so many people. This is like the best dog surf competition I've ever judged and seen in my lifetime.
A lot of these dogs just love water. They just love being in the water. You know, you got some of the dogs, they even have their chew toys attached to the end of their boards, and they'll like drag the board in the water, want to be out there. It's just a lot of fun for them. And I think it's also a lot of the balancing. You know, you can see them like kind of feeling the wave.
So first of all, it's all about safety. You know, then once you get them used to it in the pool, I believe it was our journey in the pool, and then transition to the ocean, lake, towed behind the boat. So that's kind of that was our journey. As you know, French Bulldogs don't surf and or swim. They usually kind of sink. This one's an overachiever. I got myself an overachiever.
Competitors from all over the world came to California. Prizes were given in several categories, depending on the size of the dog. Judges evaluated the distance of the run and also awarded bonus points for style. Proceeds from the event went to support animal rescue organizations.
That's the news. Thank you for watching, and from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.